All right, I'm back. This is Second Ezra chapter 15 and verse 16. For there shall be sedition among men, and invading one another. They shall not regard their kings nor princes, and the course of their actions shall stand in their power. A man shall desire to go into a city and shall not be able, for because of their pride the city shall be troubled, the houses shall be destroyed, and men shall be afraid. A man shall have no pity upon his neighbor, but shall destroy their houses with the sword, and spoil their goods because of the lack of bread, and for great tribulation. Because as it stands right now, right, a lot of people have been lazy concerning the destruction that's going to be coming upon this earth, right? And although these people have been lazy and they haven't been paying attention to what's coming, they still are not going to accept that they've been lazy and that it was their fault when all of these things took place. So let's say let's just use a carnal sense, man. Let's say there's a person that's been kind of knowing that all of the stuff that's happening right now in this earth was going to take place, and they've been prepping. So they've been storing up food, right? They've been storing up water. They've been storing up tin cans, right? They've been storing up a excess surplus of petrol, right? For if they need to drive when everything goes down, for that SHTF situation, right? But their neighbor has been using the same amount of money that person that's been preparing in the carnal sense has been spending their money on things that's going to benefit them when a situation like this takes place. Their neighbor might have been buying a new car on finance, right? Or might have been buying wine bottles, might have been going on holidays when he was able to, right? Might have been taking sluts out on dates so that they can splurge them off, right? They might have been doing all of that BS, right? But when everything goes bad and there's no bread for them to eat because they didn't prepare, even in a carnal sense, never mind a spiritual sense, they didn't even prepare in that carnal way, right? They're going to be aggravated by that, but they're not going to say, you know what, I didn't prepare, so it's my fault, my bad, right? I guess I'm just going to have to starve to death. They're not going to say that. Who would say that? They're going to say, I know my neighbor's got some, and if he's a good friend, he'd give me some of his food. So then they'll go to them for some food, right, on the first go round, and they'll say, oh, mate, you've got any bit spare, mate? Yeah? Like just a little sandwich or something, mate, yeah? And they go and give him that sandwich. They'll probably give him, all right, here we go. But you better get out and find yourself some food, though. And they'll be like, I will, mate. I swear, I'll try it, mate. I will. I promise. Right? And then the friend's going to come back to him again. Oh, mate, I went to the shops. There was nothing there. You got a bit of chicken or anything, or a couple of cans to just tide me over while things get better, while I can get the chance to go and get some food myself, mate, yeah? And the friend might say, yeah, all right, Darren, I will do that for you, geezer, because me and you have been boys around this neighborhood for quite a long time, mate, yeah? And they'll give him some. And eventually the neighbor's going to keep coming back and back and back again, the neighbor that didn't prepare. And they're going to say, you know what, mate? Nah, this time around, nah, I'm running out, man. I'm not going to give you none. And the neighbor's not going to accept that. They're going to say, oh, well, if you don't want to give me none, now I'm taking it as though you're my enemy. So then now they're going to use that as an excuse for them to kill their neighbor, right? For them to come up against their neighbor with the sword and spoil their goods because of the lack of bread. So they're going to say, I wouldn't normally do this in a normal situation, right? But desperate times call for desperate measures. That's what they're going to say. And they're going to justify it in their mind as though I'm only doing this stuff for survival, right? They're going to justify it in their mind as though I'm only being a cannibal because of survival. I wouldn't normally do this either. They're not gonna say, oh, I'm a bad person and that's the reason why I'm doing these things. They're gonna justify it. They're gonna justify it in their mind, and they're gonna say, well, I wouldn't have normally did this kind of stuff, but I'm only doing it now. I'm only doing it now because the world's gone bad, so I'm allowed to do these kind of things right now because the world's evil. They're not gonna say in their mind, oh, I wouldn't normally be this kind of way. They're not gonna say that. You see what I mean? Because that's how these people are, man. Right? And all the proud are gonna stumble, man, in that time. Then none of these Edomites that are proud are gonna be able to get away with this stuff, man. Because as it stands right now, like, Edomites have always had more wealth than the average person. They've always had a bit more riches than your average, so they're always able to, like, feed themselves a bit more. They're able to go on holidays. But there's gonna come a time where money's not gonna mean nothing because the amount of money that a person has is not gonna be worth nothing, man. So it's not going to be a thing where you can say, oh, I've got this amount of riches, I've got that amount of riches, I can overcome the evils that I'm going to face. They're not going to be able to overcome the evils because there's going to be continual people around that are going to be running around with a sword, and they think in their racist minds, right? And I'm looking at Edomite right now as I'm saying this, man. They think in their racist minds that they're going to be able to, like, that they're preparing for us, the Israelites, right? They think, oh yeah, let's all team together, mate, because if any of these black fellas come up against us, then we're going to be able to overcome them. But what they don't realize is that their neighbors, like, yeah, whatever, man, yeah, he'll agree to that, but they're going to really be fighting against their own people in that time, man. Because we ain't there. When it's saying their neighbors in this sense, it's meaning like literally the people that live around you, man. And Esau loves to try and move himself away from us to try and bring himself around his own people, right? 2 chapter 15 and verse 19, a man shall have no pity upon his neighbor, but shall destroy their houses with a sword and spoil their goods. There's not going to be no pity. They're not going to say, oh, mate, I remember when I invited you to that barbecue, though. They're going to be like, nah, man, there's not enough bread. So either the neighbor's going to tell his friend that comes to his house, he's going to tell him, do one. There's not enough for us both, right? Or the neighbor's going to run up in the house and take over his neighbor by the force of strength and overcome him and steal what he has. And he might have always liked his neighbors or his friends. He might have always liked his neighbor or his friend's woman. So then not only does he steal that, but he steals his neighbor or his friend's woman too, man. These are the kind of things, these are the kind of evils that are going to be taking place, man. These are the kind of things that are going to be taking place. Let me just get a quick scripture on this same thing. This is Isaiah chapter 19 and verse 2. And I will set the Egyptians against the Egyptians, and they shall fight every one against his brother, and every one against his neighbor, city against city, and kingdom against kingdom. So this is what's going to be taking place, man. All of these people are going to be fighting against each other. There's not going to be no love. There's not going to be no righteousness around here. There's going to be people that are just going to be evil against each other, man. There's not going to be no such thing as friends in that time. People are going to be scared to even see another person in that time, man. They're not going to want to see somebody else. They're going to be like, nah, I don't want to stumble upon a stranger because that stranger might try and eat me. That stranger might try and steal from me. They're not going to be designed to see other people. And at the same time, they're going to want to see other people because they're going to be like, well, where are all of the people at, man? That's how they're going to be like. Let me carry on reading. Let me get some more. This is 2 chapter 16 and verse 39. Even so shall not the plagues be slack to come upon the earth, and the world shall mourn, and the sorrow shall come upon it on every side. So this world is getting ready to catch hell, man, and they're seeing small examples, and there's no one that can turn it back because Yahweh has to make the world go through this so that prophecy can be fulfilled. O my people, hear my word, make you ready to thy battle, and in those evils even be as pilgrims upon the earth. He that selleth, let him be as he that fleeth away, and he that buyeth, as one that will lose. He that occupieth merchandise, as he that shall not profit by it, and he that buildeth, as he that shall not dwell therein. He that soweth, as if he should not reap. So also he that planteth the vineyard, as he that shall not gather the grapes. So all of these Edomites and all these proud people that have got all this money, they're buying these things and growing these things as though they are going to profit by it, but they're not going to. But the elect of the nation of Israel, they're doing certain things. They got a job. They might have certain assets or whatever that they've tried to do things with, right? But their way how they're doing it, really in a sense, it was like almost like a pastime because they couldn't just 100% keep pouring all their spirit on trying to teach the scriptures and learn the scriptures because it will weaken your flesh so much, man. Because the things that we're learning are so heavenly, right? And the scriptures say, don't be over righteous. Verse 43, he that soweth as he that should not reap, so also he that planteth the vineyard as he that shall not gather the grapes. They that marry as they that shall not get no children. They that marry as they that shall get no children. And they that marry not as the widowers. And therefore they that labour in vain. For strangers shall reap their fruits, and spoil their goods, overthrow their houses, and take their children captives. For in captivity and famine shall they get children. So that's what's going to be happening, man. A whole bunch of chaos is getting ready to happen on this earth, man. And all these people that have been running around proud, right? Or that have been thinking that they're tough guys, you ain't tough enough for this. Yahweh's going to have to be with you for this. Because a tough guy, right? The toughest man in the world, right? Make them not eat for 40 to 48 hours, and let's see if they're still tough. Let's see. These big bodybuilders that are eating like 5,000 calories plus a day, make them not eat for 24 hours and see if they're tough. They're going to lose their mind, man. They'll be crying. They'll be wishing that they had a protein shake. They'll be wishing that they could drink 5 liters of water a day like they normally used to. Their body's like, it needs a lot of maintenance, man. A small guy will be able to handle not eating for 24 hours, 48 hours, 72 hours better than they will. Because they need a lot of food, a lot of resources to keep that system that they've made going. Verse 45, and therefore they that labour in vain. For strangers shall reap their fruits and spoil their goods and overthrow their houses and take their children captives. For in captivity and famine shall they get children. And they that occupy their merchandise with robbery, the more they deck their cities, their houses, their possessions, and their own persons, the more I will be angry with them for their sin, saith Yahweh. So that's what Yahweh is getting ready to do to these people, man. All these people that have been storing up goods and riches for themselves, they're getting ready to lose their pride, man. Right? And the elect of the nation of Israel are getting ready to be shining bright as more than a golden wedge of Ophir. And I'm gonna end this lesson there. All praises to Yahweh, Bashem Yahushai, Bashem Makar Kwadash, and Shalom to the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone. Double honors to the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone, and Shalom to all of the elect of the nation of Israel. Shalom.